I can't exactly eat brains to start it, can I? Wafers. I thought I'd show you the other side of the new place, or at least part of it, because the other side you've seen enough of at this point. So I figured you'd not see my bed this time and you'd actually see part of my desk, which is pretty small. The Blu-rays are actually over there, which I'm hiding. So that sucks. I'm gonna get these wafers out of the way before I start to dabble in it too much. Zombieland Double Tap is a film that I've been waiting many years for, and I didn't think I was gonna get. I gave up on it. I figured, hey, they're never gonna make a sequel to Zombieland. That's just never gonna happen. But lo and behold, we get a surprise announcement at one point in time that the film is actually happening. We get a poster, we get a trailer, and I was pumped out of my mind. The first Zombieland is one of my favorite comedies of all time. It's a film that I just saw again very recently, and I still get a laugh out of it every time I do. This film takes place 10 years later, as is the release date, where things have changed. The four people, Columbus, Tallahassee, Wichita, and Little Rock, they've all become really, really close and like a family of sorts. But Little Rock is having some ideas on what she wants to do more with her life rather than just be cooped up with the three other people that she knows. And this starts to cause a very big change in the dynamics that this group has already shared. And I don't want to give away too many other things because I haven't actually seen the trailers beyond the point that I know of. So if there's anything else that the trailers show you, okay, but I personally don't know more, so I'm gonna keep it just reserved to that premise. This was a film, like I said, I was very, very excited for, and I thought the first Zombieland worked so well, so I was also a little worried about this one, because horror comedy sequels can sometimes not be very good, and I was concerned, rightfully so. But I walked out personally, I don't know how people are gonna react to this movie. I, for one, loved it. This was a really great follow-up to the first film that I think just about misses it by a hair. This film was kind of like 22 Jump Street for me, in that if you've seen that film, you know that it's almost as good as 21 Jump Street, but one of the issues that 22 Jump Street has is that at points it tends to be a little similar to what 21 Jump Street did. This film has something very similar in that regard. I'm gonna get that negative out of the way, which is that there are things in this film which are very reminiscent of the first Zombieland. Certain moments, certain plot points, the way certain scenes are led into, especially coming towards the final act, there's this scene set up, and the way it's set up is kind of similar to the first movie, which I thought was a little obvious at points. There are a few moments like that. That was the only major issue I had with this film. The rest of it, somehow, they've captured pretty much everything I loved about the first film and added in some really great stuff too. The action and zombie kills and the humor that I loved in the first one are still here. The performances are all still great. Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, Woody Harrelson, Abigail Breslin. They're all fantastic. The standout, however, in this film, the new character that they've added, is Zoe Dutch as Madison, who I thought was absolutely hilarious. They used this character in all the right ways and they didn't try to make her more than she was. At times they did, but they did it knowingly. Like they knew exactly why this character was suddenly there a lot more in certain moments than others. And they played their cards just right in that scenario. At one point in time, you're getting so oversaturated with her that they decide to do something to sort of give you a pause on that character, and they do it at just the right time, and then they bring her back more in Mass Effect later on in the film, and I thought, oh good. They found a way to rightfully have this character be a central part of the story without having it be overbearing. She was kind of like how they did Forky or, BB-8 in those movies. So, good job on that. The editing, important, because it was all fast-paced in the first one and it remains just as fast-paced in this movie. And I really love that. The film has a lot of great surprises, a bunch of great cameos, and it just contains that sense of fun that the first film had. It never loses sight of what made it so good in the first place. It also doesn't take itself too seriously, which is something sequels can make a mistake in doing. One thing that happens with sequels sometimes to comedy movies is that they can sometimes tend to either change the tone drastically of a sequel, or it can tend to do things that go against what the sequel set up, or try to become overly serious and sort of steer into the wrong skid, so to speak. This film does not do that. It retains exactly what made the first one so much fun and so exciting and so entertaining, and it didn't take itself too seriously, that first movie. Neither does this one. This film has ridiculous kills and ridiculous amounts of gore at parts and some really over the top stuff, maybe even more so than the first movie. But that doesn't mean that it's trying to change it up in any way. The film understands the tone it's in, sets for itself, the world it's in, and even when certain character beats take place in the film, it's handled in a way that the characters, other characters, respond to it in a way that they would. One thing in particular, I was kind of wondering how they would follow through on it during the runtime. And they actually followed it in pretty much exactly how I figured they would. It's something involving Wichita and Columbus, and I thought that was really well handled. It was actually exactly what I would expect out of their characters from the way that they were set up in the first Zombieland film. And I have to credit the writing on that. It's just a really well written film like that. It understands the core. And I think one of the reasons you'll enjoy this movie almost as much as the first one in that regard is because it retains that core perfectly. Yes, it has the threat of going into a side plot a bit much, but it doesn't. It again spends the exact amount of time it needs, and they handle it perfectly, just in the right ways. My only issue, like I said, I got it out of the way in the beginning, was that I thought that the film had some similar things to the first one, and I think that they could have gone a little differently in terms of how those sequences took place. That being said, the rest of the film stands out perfectly. I think this is a really worthy sequel to the first one. I think this was well worth the wait. Again, comedy is subjective. I understand if some people do not like this film. I understand if some people have issues with this movie. Personally, speaking from personal tastes, I really love this film. I really did. And I can't wait to see it again in theaters. I'm going to give Zombieland Double Tap a 9 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Look forward to more reviews very soon. There's a lot coming out this week, which I want to cover. Look forward to tomorrow for my review of Parasite, day after Jojo Rabbit, and then by Friday, I should have The Lighthouse. I'm going to try my best to get that out. I also have something to do that day. But let's see. As always, if you like this, guys, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.